Yes, I can hear you now. I didn't hear you earlier. All right.
Okay.
So we first had the release from the presidency last night on the new appointment of Yowunu to replace Dampare. With the wording that, let me start off from the wording of the replacement. It has been a debate where some people say it's a replacement, some people say it's a sack from the police service. With your experience, maybe you help us understand what exactly it means.
Thank you. But I think replacement or removal or whatever, I think it's the same thing. If he has not been removed, somebody will not replace him. And if somebody doesn't replace him, he will still be there as the IGP. So the IGP, Dr. Dampare, has been replaced. His position has been given to Mr. Tete Yohonu. And so, well, the IGP has been removed for now, and Mr. Tete Yohonu has taken his place. So, well, he's been replaced. And I think well, the wording does not matter. The most important thing is that there is a new IGP to take over from the past one. That's all.
Now let's look at the politics of it. I'll go straight into articles that has been a point of debate. Let me start off with Article 191, Clause B or subsection B. It says that protection of public officers, a member of the police service shall not be dismissed or removed from office or reduced in rank or otherwise punished without a just cause. That the president has a right to appoint or disappoint, especially with the appointment of the IGP and the debate that has erupted afterwards.
So I don't get it. So are people saying that the president hasn't got the right to replace or to remove?
Yes, they are saying that the president, there's no just cause in removing the IGP, considering what the article is requiring.
So what has happened in the past? All the IGPs that have been removed in the past, have they not been removed by the presidents at the time? And so what was the justification, or what was not the justification for removing them? So you come and serve your term. It is the president's constitutional right to appoint and at the same time disappoint, relieve. And so if the president feels that he has to replace you with someone, why not? The constitution allows him. And this time, I think he's appointing a new IGP. And so he has to consult with the Council of State. And I think once that is done, he can appoint. And if he is appointing, whoever is there must give way for the new one to come in. So for me, I don't understand. The Constitution is clear. The president shall appoint an IGP in consultation with the Council of State. And if he's done that, I don't think he's not in any breach of any law.
Now let's look at the performance of Akuffo Dampare since he was appointed till now, of his removal. How will you assess his IGP reign?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes. I think he's done his part. But there are some of us who were not indeed happy about the way he managed the police service. You know, his administration has been characterized by so many controversies. You know about several court cases, and you know about people who were also going to court in order to, let me see, perpetuate or entrench him in office. And this has never happened before. IGPs come and then they are taken away by the presidents of the time. And we have never seen or witnessed any court matters about the removal of the IGP until this time. And so the controversies are there. Apart from the IGP being sent to court by even individual members of the police service, there are outsiders who have also taken court action against certain actions of government. And some of us don't understand why these things should be so. The police officers themselves, most of them were not also happy with the way the affairs were run. Promotions, transfers, what do you call it, interdictions, so many things. And it appeared that the whole administration or the conduct of the service was a one-man show. He was not consulting with even his own POMAB members. There was that kind of division. We are out there, we were in the service, and we had so many things happening. There were also, like I mentioned, promotions, some undeserved promotions, some being promoted in a space of 3 years, somebody getting 3 promotions. And you see, this did not augur very well. Apart from that, certain actions of him, I keep on mentioning like the closure of the officers' mess, where officers sit and enjoy themselves. Retired officers also sit and enjoy themselves. That place has been closed for more than a year now, for no apparent reasons. And certain actions of his. There were people who were praising him for what they have seen about the police itself, maybe the police building, the police walls, the kind of things that he had done in front of the police service, the painting and all that. And people use that to praise him. People say they have seen so many policemen on motorbikes in the streets and on the roads, and therefore police presence is felt and all that. So he's done well. Well, it's credit to him, but of course we cannot take away the credit from the other police officers or the IGPs who came earlier, who also entrenched this kind of police visibility. Mr. Lassa, for example, can be mentioned. And so every IGP who comes, that's what he can. But this particular administration headed by Dr. Dampare had, of course, been in controversy because of the several court actions, because of the agitations of the police officers, because of certain actions that he took without doing a lot of consultation. He had, of course, a pool of retired IGPs who could have guided him, but I think he chose not to. And I think that is why so many things happen in his administration that the officers and men were not happy about.
So it was quite strange when the news broke and we suddenly saw the flooding of social media. Police officers who didn't mind now coming on camera, jubilating and celebrating at the headquarters, in their offices, in their homes. Some were even making comments, to the celebration of the removal of the IGP. And we also have had criticisms about the IGP putting up a different character or behavior in the eyes of the public, and also showing something else, maybe in secret when he's in service with his police officers. How can you explain, what exactly greeted his removal?
You have said it. You see, if police officers could come out and enjoy and jubilate over the removal of an IGP, then it tells a lot. It explains quite a lot. And some of us have been on several platforms being critical of the way he was administering the service. Some of us, a few of us. And not that we personally did not like him. He was a very good friend, and he is still. But I think we were not happy with the way he was managing affairs at the police headquarters. There are people who have accused him of mismanagement. Whether there is evidence or not, yes. But the police officers, the men and women of the service, were not happy with his style. And that is why they poured out into the streets. Look at officers at the police officers' mess. Some were shouting they have opened the mess. Why would you lock up the mess for more than a year? Mess, police officers' mess. It should not be under your control. It should be under whoever is in charge of welfare. And so if you lock up the mess for no apparent reason, you think your officers will be happy with you. Anybody associating with some officers, like Mr. George Mensah of the, let me say, the leaked tape saga, anybody associating with him or associated with him at that time was a target of transfer. And all the officers who were in a tennis club also, because Mr. George Mensah was the vice chairman of a tennis association, all the officers who were with him were victimized in some way. Some transferred to some remote areas, even with their ranks, when they should not have been transferred there. And so many things. And
how about the Benjamin Agbojo case?
Yes. And you see, so if he is being removed and this is greeted with jubilation by officers, then it tells you the kind of discontent that the officers had in his administration. And so for somebody to come now, Mr. Yono is, of course, an experienced officer, 40 years policing career. He started from the scratch, and he should know all about policing. And he's held different positions. He's been Director General Operations, the Special Duties, Admin, and so on and so forth. And even when he became the Deputy IGP, he was a target. He was victimized. His men were victimized. Some were transferred. Some were put on interdiction. I mean, you wouldn't understand all this. Look at the police communication department. Do you hear officers speaking about crime in their areas of jurisdiction. Nobody talks. Everything is centered around the IGP. And so it looks like everybody had been gagged. You cannot talk. You cannot say much, because if you speak and it is not pleasant to the IGP, then you become a target of transfer, target of, let's say, demotion, whatever it is. And so now he has been removed, and look at people jubilating. Look at police officers jubilating. And so it tells you that...
You may say that the jubilation, obviously, is something new that we probably haven't seen it within the police service before. But when it comes to transfers, I think even with myself growing up, there were many times I'd heard this person been transferred because he did ABCD. The transfers has always been a form of punishment within the Ghana Police Service, not so?
Not at all. We have a structure. We have the transfer board, because of course you cannot stay at one station forever. Definitely you need to be transferred to some other place as well. But if it becomes victimization, you are immediately transferred, and the next day there's a vehicle to take you to your new station. It doesn't show humane. I mean, you are not exhibiting what I will call, you are not being humane to the officer. The transfer, and the next day you are there. There are instances where some officers, female officers, have been transferred. Officers, nursing mothers, and then the next day they say the vehicle is there to take you to your new station, because that officer being transferred is associated with a particular officer who is not on good terms with the IGP, or the IGP is not on good terms with. And so these were some of the things, victimization. And there are so many people on interdiction. All these things are matters that need attention immediately by the new IGP. There is one officer who has been on interdiction for 3.5 years or so. Why? What is it that should keep that officer on interdiction for so long?
Yeah.
And his matter cannot be settled within days. And he is not the only one. At a time, there were so many officers lumped together in an office. And so many controversies, so many problems. And so for him even to stay for 3.5 years, I think whoever is in charge of replacing him has been a bit charitable, because of the problems that had characterized his administration. You see, 3.5 years, I think he's been there more than all his predecessors. If I should mention, Mr. Opombonu was about 2 years, Mr. Pietu was about 2.5 years or so, Mr. Kudalo was 1 year and some few months, Mr. Lassan was about just less than 3 years, and he has been there for 3.5 years. And these IGPs that I've mentioned, they are removed. Did police officers jubilate? Did the administration, were the administrations characterized by the kind of furor, the kind of discontent, the kind of frustration and disappointment that we are witnessing today? And so, it is good that the president has done, I think, the right thing.
There are those who have also had the chance to relate to him and describe him as a disciplinarian. Is that not maybe because of that the police force cannot deal with?
Who is not a disciplinarian? If somebody is going wayward and you discipline him, who will complain? But if you take a chief superintendent and send him to Karaga is a one district station. If you make assistant superintendents district commanders, district commanders where your crime officers are superintendents, you say it's discipline. You are rather undermining discipline, because you have junior officers whom you've had over senior officers. If you have promoted other juniors over and above their seniors, you call that discipline. So it's not that discipline. If you are disciplinarian, maintain that disciplinary nature that they say you are, but not that you do things to undermine authority. You understand?
Yeah.
So if you promote somebody 3 times over and above his seniors, if there are other people that you earmark for promotion over and above their seniors, and you call that discipline, and you have a crime officer who is senior to the district commander in the district, will that define discipline? And so these are some of the things. Discipline, who is not a discipline? Every IGP may be a disciplinarian of some sort. But when you do things to undermine your own administration, it cannot be discipline.
He did things to undermine his own administration?
Yes, this is what I'm saying. Because if you promote juniors over and above their seniors, you think you are maintaining discipline. for no reason. Because we have special recommendations where officers have performed exceedingly well, and there is no doubt about those officers being recommended for promotion. Those things are done. We have special recommendations. But where you promote one person or two persons or three persons in your good books who have not done anything that anybody is aware of, you promote, and then 1 year or so you again promote, special recommendation. You think the officers will be happy with you? You only bring morale down. Once you bring morale down, then what kind of discipline are you maintaining?
So do you agree with those who describe him as a tyranny?
As what?
As tyranny, his administration as tyranny.
Well, I think what I've been saying for the past 5 minutes or so shows the position I am. The position I am, because for me, he's a very good friend of mine. We calls me brother. We are fine, but I have never been happy with the way he managed the police service. That one, I might be frank. And there are several officers. You could speak to some of the IGPs. We talk, and as I said, he had a pool of IGPs, retired IGPs, whom he could have consulted, but he chose not. And then he decided to run the police in the same direction, in his own direction that he wanted. And that is why people complained, officers complained a lot. So those outsiders who decided to take him to court, to take the matter to court, to injunct the president from removing him, I don't know what their intention is. IGPs have been removed. Why didn't they do that earlier? Why didn't Mr. Kudalo was there for 1 year, about 4 months when he was removed? Why didn't they injunct the IGP? Injunct the president from removing him? This is somebody who has been there for more than 3.5 years. And the way must be paid for somebody else to take over and see what he can do to level up maybe some of the what we consider as mess, to level up or to clear some of the things that he had done which did not augur well for policing generally.
Well, so what the IGP, the new IGP Onu, has indicated that his strategy is necessarily going to be community policing. What does that necessarily mean? And what are you expecting from him, at least to bring a change and a positive wave, along the side, along the police service, so that we'll see a difference? Because it looks like even the chiefs, like yourself, were not really happy the way Dampari's administration was being run. So what are you expecting from your UNO?
Consultation a lot. He has many officers around there, experienced ones. IGPs are there. Major decisions that he takes, he can do some consultation. There were IGPs who did it. Mr. Lassan did it quite a lot of times. And if he decides to stick to consultation, I think he will be very successful. He said community, yes. So he wants the community to partner him in crime fighting. The police work is all about crime fighting. Crime fighting, winning public trust, and then, of course, working in partnership with others. That is all about police work. Made to fighting crime, organized crime, earning trust. If you do it well, and you can earn trust by involving the community, involving other partners to assist you, and then you move on. But if you decide to do it on your own, nobody is a repository of knowledge or skill or whatever expertise. You need to consult. And then do your policing job very well. If you consult, I don't think you will ever be found wanting. I think Dr. Dampare did not do a lot of consultation. He decided to do things his own way. The creation of so many regions, police regions, without, I don't know whether he consulted the ministry or not. It's a big major policy decision if you want to create regions. Now we have 25 police regions. I mean, if you create the Kwai region, if you create Chebi region, if you create a Sinfosu region, have you considered the crime wave? Have you considered how many stations, the stations, I mean the base, have you considered how many of such stations have been created that will require the need for a region? These are some of the things we talk about. Creation of regions, 25 police regions. When some of the regions he has created, virtually the crime wave is so low. The Kasua region, or they call it Central East region, if it is a region, it's clear, everybody understands. You look at the size, Kasua has become more or less a metropolis, and human activities, everything. So if you make it a region, we will understand. But what about Chibi? What about Bekwai? Bekwai, how many kilometers from Kumasi? And so you see some of these things, we see that the decision was not well thought through. And so we need somebody also to come and then do consultation and see how things can be leveled up to make the policing more attractive and to ensure that the citizens' safety and security are maintained. So right. a lot of question marks that I don't think we can say all these things on this platform at the moment.
COP Brighter Drew, retired. We're grateful for your time this afternoon, and definitely will be engaging you as we also go through the administration of the new IGP, Yohuno. And he is a former Director General of the Criminal Investigation Department as a CID of the Ghana Police Service. You're watching Good Afternoon Ghana. The news updates will come through. We just have to, do this so that we get some more details and review of the updates that's happening across the country. Let's take a breather. We'll be back. Continue with the IGPs, the new IGP Yohuno's appointment and swearing in. And then later we'll deal with an issue that's coming up with the Ghana Boxite sale. We'll be speaking with Martin People on that one. He is a private legal practitioner. He's raising matters on it. And then later also the Mahama Care program also will be speaking on that, all on Good Afternoon Ghana. If you know what is called Taste Ghana at 68, that is what the tourism ministry is also embarking on. We'll be talking more about it very soon, but let's take a breather. We'll be back.
Attention all farmers, are you ready to take your crops to the next level? Introducing 3 effective organic composts that will revolutionize your farming practices. ACAP, KCAP and IRECOP brings to you the ultimate solution for your fertilizer needs. Introducing the ACAP Grade A, KCAP Equiafuajinkwa and the IRECOP with cocoa blends, palm blend and mulch. These are made from locally sourced municipal solid waste, and these are the perfect choice for sustainable farming. Join the organic revolution today. Boost your crop yield, improve soil health, and support sustainable farming practices. Choose ACAP, KCAP, and IRECOP organic compost for a greener and bountiful harvest. For your purchase and more information, call the numbers on your screen. Our products are endorsed by COCOBOD, Planting for Food and Jobs, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
Step up with DSTV and we'll show up by giving you more incredible entertainment.
Going to have a little fun.
Upgrade your subscription between the 13th of January and the 31st of March and get an even higher package for a whole month on us.
Buckle up, here we go.
There's nothing better than putting a little bit in but getting a lot out.
Time to boost some office morale.
Incredible!
If you want to build a future, you gotta know what you want.
Step up and we'll show up on your home of entertainment, DSTV.
Welcome to Good Afternoon Ghana. Desmond Okreko is standing by with news updates. But before that, we'll speak with Pagriv Wachidankwa, who is the government spokesperson of the former administration for security and governance. He's joined us via phone for more on this IGP, new IGP that's been sworn in. Pagriv, thank you for your time. You're welcome. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Annie, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for responding to us. The new IGP has been sworn in. Your first take on it?
Well, first is to congratulate Yohuno for his accession to the highest office as the Inspector General of Police, and also commend the former IGP, Dr. George Akuffo-Dampare, for his sterling leadership over the past years that he had an opportunity. We have seen that policing had gone to the very highest level in terms of an establishment of a number of initiatives, police welfare, emergency medical fund that was set up under his regime, police virtual medical center, road action against rider indiscipline, which was the Operation Pari, the invisible police eye, the police anti-insurance loading enforcement strategy, the traffic enforcement, the K9 unit dogs in Accra, the sustainable motor operations, and on and on and on, police uniformity and the like. So we commend the former IGP, Dr. George Akuffo-Dampare, and we definitely wish the new IGP well. You are aware that every single political dispensation, executive presidency has an opportunity to change the various security couples, and so this is something that has been going on over the past period in this republic, and so it's nothing new at all.
Do you? I'm not sure. If during your administration, do you by chance or did you by chance experience some, cold relationship with the IGP at the time, Dampare? Because at some point there were rumors that he was about to be removed. It went on social media. People were against it, that the president at the time should leave him alone and let him do his work and all that. Did you at some point, had a bad blood, maybe, if you may, with his style of policing?
Not at all. I think that under the presidency of President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo and even the entire security couples and apparatus, we were very much pleased with the work and the style and leadership of the respected Dr. George Akuffo-Dampare. There was not any instance that I can either put publicly or even privately that I either heard of anything of that sort. I mean, we've been very pleased with his work. He created 8 new police regions across the country. He made sure that the entire police unit was very together, and we were very pleased with his work. I mean, he set up the election security task force, which he chaired. We were very pleased with his work, to be honest. We saw that there was a lot more discipline in the rank and file of the service and even in the country as well, with the control of security people and even the control of the citizens and road traffic control and all of that. So
there was no point, at no point did the government make an attempt to remove him as IGP?
None at all that I can recall that our government had any intention whatsoever to remove him. And I think that, you see, because of the sterling leadership of Dr. George Akuffo-Dampare, there are many people who have always eyed the role. And I say that the new IGP, who steps into very bigger shoes. Because the Ghanaian people will have
you're saying that it is due to his sterling leadership that has made the IGP position attractive. Is that what you're saying? So it's not about what he has said or he has done within the service. You saw the jubilation in the camps of the police service after his removal.
Annie, there are over 30,000 police service personnel in this country. Those jubilations do not represent even a percentage of it. There are over 30,000.
Yes, but we've not seen anything of this nature before. Yes, but we've not seen something like this before.
I don't think that this is something we should dwell upon, because there are over 30,000 police personnel in this country. Over 30,000. And he's brought a lot more discipline in the rank and file. And so we should move away from this level of narrative. There are over 30,000 police.
We're not putting a narrative to it. We're stating the facts, which we've never experienced in Ghana before.
How many people, head count, can you tell me are jubilated? Tell me, 50, 20, 30, tell me. There are over 30,000. That's what I'm trying to say. There are over 30,000. So if you're stating the fact, put the numbers out. How many police people are jubilating as a result of this change?
I don't know. I'm not sure if you've had the chance to speak with any of the police officers. I have. From last night, every police officer I spoke with privately, and I'm just saying it publicly, except that I can't mention their ranks, but every police officer I spoke with privately spoke ill of him. We've just spoken with a former boss, CID boss, who has also indicated that his administration was marred with some sort of tyranny. He agrees with people describing him as a tyrant because he was not opening up. He was taking independent and individual decisions. He was, I mean, his reign was not what he would describe as something he should be proud of. I'm not sure why you're singing a different song. Is it that you never heard anything of this nature anywhere?
I am surprised that a former CID boss will make this comment. But really, Annie, the security of the country is principally very important. The police unit is in charge of our internal security, and it's important that we celebrate the successes and the transformation that he brought within the police services. Don't give a dog a bad name and hang it. That's all we're trying to say. If you look at the sterling leadership that he rolled out, and I have about 30 policies that he was able to roll out under his tenure. I can go through from the police shop to the e-payment system to decentralization of the counseling unit to training and continuous personal development that he gave to the police unit, to ensuring that the police have a strong public relations by the establishment of the police TV, by engaging young people in schools, which was the Snatch Them Young, by the establishment of the Judicial Protection Unit, and on and on and on and on. And clearly, if you look at these 30, policies and a lot more that he was able to do, in addition to what the SWAL government, the Kufuor Baumia-led government did with the police service, there is no way that you can equate that to the jubilation that is going on. And I'm saying there are over 30,000 police personnel out there. Name the people that you are speaking to. There are 1 or 2 or 3, and definitely, I mean, people will have issues with the SWAL government president and Dankwa Akufo-Addo, but the Ghanaian people overwhelmingly would vote for him. And it's the same way that people may have challenges with John Dramani Mahama, but the Ghanaian people have voted for him. So whatever it takes, at every stake of life in leadership, you will have people that will not like you, but it does not mean that your work is not creditable. And that is what we are saying.
With one word,
the work of Dr. George Akuffo Dampare has been sterling, and we salute him. The Ghanaian people salute him for his work, and I think that we should commend him for what he's done over the years.
All right, Dr. Palgrave Barchidankwa, former government spokesperson on governance and security. We're grateful for speaking to us here on Good Afternoon Ghana. Thank you for your time. And that's it, his take on that. But before I cross over to Desmond, the updates that's coming in from the presidency, again, still on security, is that President John Dramani Mahama has appointed the following security service chiefs. Number 1 is Director General of the Ghana Police Service, that is DDGP3, Patience Bafoboni. Also, number 2, Chief Fire Officer, DCFO Daniela Mausi Into Sapong. And number 3, the Controller General of the Ghana Immigration Service is also DCI Samuel Basentali Amadu. And these are the 3 service chiefs that have been appointed from the presidency. It just came in a few minutes ago. So that's a breaking story that I'm giving you here on Good Afternoon Ghana. Is President John Dramani Mahama appointing 3 security chiefs in the person of DDGP 3, Patience Bafoboni, for Director General of the Ghana Police Prison Service, Chief Fire Officer, DCFO Daniela Mausi Into Sapong, and also Controller General of the Ghana Immigration Service, in the person of DCI Samuel Basentale Amadu. All right, it's signed by Felix Kwachofo, spokesperson for President and Minister for Government Communications. Desmond is standing by to also give us some updates of news headlines. We'll be getting back into the interviews pretty shortly. Desmond, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Annie. Yep, and definitely we've seen a lot of shake-up in there and quite a number of interesting responses with respect to the new IGP who has been sworn in by the president, of course, giving our viewers all the details. We're live on Facebook, Metro TV Ghana, and also you can join us on DSTV channel 277. Let's now do some news updates, and we'll head to Parliament, where former Minister for Finance, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, has accused the Finance Minister of inflating expenditure figures in the 2025 budget statement by 49.2 billion cedis. According to Dr. Adam, this move was deliberately intended to misrepresent the financial management of the SUR NPP administration. The minority also criticized the Mahama-led government for the 2.7 billion cedis budget allocation for the office of the president machinery. Let's take this story now.
The 2025 budget was, however, going to be the vehicle for confirming what has been perfectly rehearsed, to crown the narrative by putting data to the unfounded claims. We have been vindicated. Our intelligence has been confirmed, and the minister has done the hatchet job. The government, through the 2025 budget statement, churned out fiscal deficit on commitment basis of 7.6% of GDP and a primary deficit of 3.6% of GDP. This would imply, if you look at them on their face value, that the MPP administration mismanaged the fiscals in accord with the intentions of the NDC government. In fact, an economy with such strong revenue performance and expenditure controls, as we have seen from the data the minister presented, cannot produce the kind of elevated fiscal the minister announced. We see a lot of contradictions there. And this, we are very confident, will be exposed. But colleagues, this is where it gets interesting. They have erroneously churned out this wrong data in a bid to tarnish the image of the MPP administration by including 49.2 billion Ghana cedis in expenditure claims without any basis. Before the start of the IMF program in 2023, we had agreed with the IMF to set the fiscal anchor based on which we will monitor the IMF program. And these were the fiscal balances on commitment basis.
We're now going to speak to the Member of Parliament for Sagna Regu Atais, has joined us for some responses with respect to this particular one. He's joined us via Zoom. Let's speak to him now. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for joining us here on Good Afternoon Ghana. Now, what is your response to what the former finance minister is saying, accusing the finance minister, Dr. Kesa, to force of fabricating data to make the former president and the whole government look bad?
Okay, so first of all, let me also say good afternoon to you and to your viewers across the world. And thanks for giving me the opportunity. Now, I think that we have to grant the minority in Parliament their right to express an opinion. And it is enshrined in our Constitution that freedom of speech. To that end, I wouldn't have anything against them on what they did. Ordinarily,
hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello.
I'd want you to adjust your camera a little bit so we can see you clearly. So we could just have half of your face now.
I don't know if it's okay.
I think it's better now. Please, you can go on.
So I'm saying that it is within their right to express an opinion on the 2025 budget. I have no question about that. However, if you look at Order 163 of our standing orders and also Order 201, it gives them an opportunity for them to debate the budget on the floor of Parliament. But as part of our political landscape and our usual annual rituals, when a budget is presented, the opposition will also come and do some sort of a second presentation to turn out their verdict on the budget. So to that end, I think that it is within their right to do that. However, you cannot have your own set of facts. A fact is sacrosanct. And I want to take a few of what the former finance minister said. First of all, if you look at our Section 21 of the Public Financial Management Act, it tells you various categories and definitions of financial terms. Unrealized claims. This simply means validated expenditures that have been approved by the finance minister awaiting payment by the controller. So If you are reporting your primary deficit, primary balance simply means that when you take out your total domestic expenditure from your total domestic revenue minus interest payment, it gives you the fiscal health. If it is negative, it means that you need to go and borrow externally to offshore your budget. Is that not the meaning? Now, if you do approval by the finance minister as at the end of 2024, those works were done, completed, and approved by the finance minister for payment. When you are accounting for the primary deficit for the year, you ordinarily have to add it because it is an expenditure that has been incurred. Now, erroneously or for political purposes and mischief, they now raise an issue. Why is it that those unrealized claims are not featured in the 2025 fiscals? It will not, because if you look at our standard of reporting, IF2, they will tell you that any unrealized payments in the end of a period, the following year, at that stage, you already know the payment year you are supposed to do. So it will feature in your expenditure line, clearly. So it is just, I don't know, I won't call it ignorance because I respect him so much, but to suggest that 49.2 billion were erroneously captured as part of the fiscals, simply suggests that he didn't understand what he was saying. Because those are expenditures that has been incurred and was due for payment and validated. And he, Dr. Amin Adam, approved payments for those monies.
Okay.
Number two, curiously and interesting, if you look at the structural benchmarks that IMF set out for Ghana before the review in fourth quarter, for example, they are coming for their fourth review next 3 weeks. If you look at the structural benchmarks, interestingly, in the whole press conference they did yesterday, they ignored inflation and the role it has on nominal incomes of Ghanaian workers.
Okay.
You had an inflation target of 18%. You ended the year with 23.8%. Curiously, it was missing in the entire. Number two, let's come to the debt to GDP ratio they raised yesterday. They said they had a post-COVID recovery debt to GDP ratio of 61.8%. Meanwhile, in 2019, it was 65.7%. What they forgot to tell us was the fact that they didn't they didn't pay any debt for 2022, 2023, and 2024. Number two, also, there was a 30% cut in the principal bonds of external bondholders. They failed to say that. So if you make a debt reduction, it is not because of fiscal discipline.
Okay.
What it simply means is that you have not been servicing your debt. And then the cruel haircut you did to the Dutch bondholders, to the local issue government bonds, and to our external sector debt.
So basically, you're saying that the former finance minister was not truthful with everything that he said yesterday.
He wasn't truthful when it comes to the debt to GDP ratio.
Okay.
Because we need to know what occasioned the reduction in the debt to GDP ratio. What occasioned it was because they did domestic debt exchange program and had a savings of 103 billion Ghana cedis and 21 billion Ghana cedis external debt. Okay. So when you take out these figures, you automatically know that the debt to GDP ratio will come down. Yet, after all this domestic debt exchange program, let's not forget, we still had a total public debt of 726 billion Ghana cedis. Interestingly enough, you knew that they didn't mention it. As part of our fiscal indiscipline, we had state-owned enterprises with so much commitments and debt. If you look at the road sector alone, we had 195 billion Ghana cedis debt. Road fund alone had 5.75 billion Ghana cedis. The cocoa sector had 32 billion Ghana cedis. IPPs alone were owed $1.7 billion. And if you come to the energy sector, we had 70 billion Ghana cedis. Where will you get enough fiscal space for you to even do any other project?
Well, thank you very much for your time for your time this afternoon.
I'll just land on this. Let me land on the external sector.
Yeah.
Let me land on this on the external sector. The financial sector, let me land on the financial sector. They said if you look at the yield curve simply means the trajectory of the trend of interest rate as done by the Bank of Ghana, that it has been coming down and the inflation rate too has been improving or reducing or stabilizing. Let me put it that way. But one thing that they forgot was that when you are talking about the secular sector, you should know the local participation in the financial market.
Okay.
First of all, you collapse all Ghanaian indigenous banks and financial institutions. That's number one. So local participation has reduced. And an asset quality review was done in 2016. That showed that we needed 9 billion to solve our banking sector problem, whilst making sure that we improve our corporate governance strategies and also our banking sector supervision by the Bank of Ghana. You came and spent a whooping sum of 30.3 billion Ghana cedis in order to save those banks that you needed 9 billion. Yet this year alone, we are supposed to make an additional 10.3 billion Ghana cedis. We also need 2.2 billion to recapitalize ADB and NIB. When you look at all these things and you say the yield curve is not coming down because of your performance. It's coming down because of the signaling effect. When a new government comes, there's so much confidence in the Ghanaian economy that will show a trajectory of downward trend of our interest rate. It is not as a result of the MPP performance.
Okay.
And I'll land on this by saying,
Honorable, please do that in 30 seconds for us. We've got to go.
We don't need to learn anything from the MPP because they have verdict out there of 41% in their electoral fortune and then 88 seats in parliament. If there was a superior managers of the Ghanaian economy, it will have reflected the cost of living of our people.
Thank you very much for your time there. So you had Honorable Atta Issa. He is the Member of Parliament for Sagnarigo, reacting to the former Finance Minister's statement that there's some fabrication of data from the Finance Minister, Dr. Kesel, to forcing to paint, the former government black. Well, we'll do some more news. And a combined team of police and the military have arrested at least 56 suspected illegal miners and handed them over to the Western Regional Police Command for investigation and prosecution. They were arrested for being involved in all forms of illegal mining activities at Kadedrin and Takwanswai municipality, respectively. In addition to the arrest, about 25 Shangfang machines being used to wash and trap gold were seized in the process and destroyed by the combined security forces. Here's the National Security Liaison Officer in the region, Brigadier General Musa Waja.
Directives to ensure that we have clean water bodies and then the environment not degraded. In line of that, the Western Regional Minister, Mr. Joseph Nelson, directed that this operation should be conducted. We've started the operation from the Hantan West constituency, and we left with soldiers from the 2nd Battalion, the Navy base from 2nd D, and the police from the regional command. Generally, it has been a successful operation. We went into 3 main areas. The first one was Nopam. Nopam is a company that concentrates mostly with the palm plantation and have certain water bodies. It was discovered that the Galamsey miners have invaded most of the rivers there.
IDGH segment for today. Water Aid Ghana has commended the government for introducing a standalone Water and Sanitation Committee in Parliament, describing it as a major step towards improving oversight and funding for the sector. The organization is, however, calling for increased investment in circular economy principles to enhance sustainable waste management.
Water and sanitation issues were handled under committees shared with Works and Housing or local government, but with the establishment of an independent committee solely focused on water and sanitation, stakeholders believe there is now a greater opportunity to address Ghana's sanitation challenges effectively.
I am particularly touched by the theme, accelerating action towards gender equality in wash service delivery, which emphasizes the importance the region attaches to wash. It is therefore not surprising that the region, the Ahafo region to be precise, stands tall on wash issues And I want to use this opportunity to sincerely thank the organizers of this special event.
Beyond increased budgetary allocation, Water Aid Ghana is advocating for a shift towards circular economy principles to tackle the country's growing waste crisis.
The Water and Sanitation Agency always ensures that women are encouraged, empowered, and granted equality to be part of water and sanitation activities, especially at the community levels.
On that, so that's all for the news updates on Good Afternoon Ghana. I am Desmond Okreku Dancer. Back to Annie for the rest of the show. Hello, Annie.
Desi.
Yes, I'm looking forward to taste Ghana at 68.
Exactly.
I love that.
That's what we're on. We're actually going to be speaking with the minister in charge of the tourism ministry to tell us more about tasting Ghana. Because I've been tasting Ghana. I eat fufu. I love fufu a lot.
I love, fufu's number one.
Fufu's number one for you.
Ampesi, ene nyadwa froye.
I thought akpele will be number one for
you. You cost for that one. Oh, I mean, I eat every food actually. So
I know you can't eat akpele. You don't even know what it's akpele.
Oh, no, I eat akpele too.
Well, so Taste Ghana at 68 is going to come up pretty shortly as we prepare to speak with Jifagomashi, who is a minister in charge of the that particular ministry. But let's come across with a story that is, raising concerns about Ghana's deals of its MMDs and then maybe SOEs and then companies that has been selling the shares that we deal with. And the private legal practitioner, Martin Pebu, took to his social media platform and wrote this. He said that GOG must conduct a forensic into the sale of the Ghana Boxite Company Limited as a GBC to Oforipoku OPCL. The shares were valued at $12.5 million in 2022, and GOG, that's the government of Ghana, which owned 20% of the shares, was given the right of first refusal to acquire the remaining 80% of the shares. Now, government of Ghana, per Charles Eduboahin, refused to the offer on the basis that there was no value for money, etc. And but in less than 2 years, GBC is now valued at over $1 billion. And you have heard me right, or you heard me right, $1 billion. How could that happen in three? How could that happen? Three, the man who did the valuation at $12.5 million is now the CFO of the buyer, that's the OPCL. And four, is it true that OPCL is owned by a big financier of the NPP? Is a question. And five, the owner of OPCL was a board member of GBC at the time of the sale of GBC to OPCL. Inside trading, and there's a question more to follow. Let's sit up. It's a question. It's a warning or an advice is given to the country. It said that the contracts must be investigated. No way. All right. Let's go onto the phone lines and engage private legal practitioner Martin Pebu, who raised this concern on Ghana Boxite Company Limited, and its sale. Martin Pebu, if you can hear me, lawyer, we're grateful for your time. Good afternoon to you, and you're welcome to the program.
Yes, good afternoon, Annie. Good afternoon.
Right, thank you for responding to us. So maybe briefly, just for all of us to be on the same page, what is this all about? What's this deal about?
Okay, so as you rightly read in the post, I came across information that showed that Ghana Boxite Company Limited, which at the time, this particular time I mentioned, this was 20% owned by government of Ghana and then 80% by a foreign company, right?
Yes.
Now, what you find, that's Boxite, okay, Boxite Company, Chinese firm,
They had come into the country years ago, and then now they're seeking to offload their shares. So when they sought to offload the 80% shares, because government of Ghana already owned 20%, usually in our company law, the rules allow that, and it's mandatory, not just allowed. Standard company regulations have a provision that anytime a shareholder is going to sell his shares, they should first give the opportunity to the other existing shareholders to buy. If they say they won't buy, then you take it outside. So in this case, government of Ghana owned 20%, and there were only two shareholders. That's Boxite, the Chinese company, and government of Ghana. So they wrote to the GBC, which is the company, wrote to government of Ghana that, look, Boxite wants to sell its 80% shares in the company. Would you buy? And then they attach the terms and conditions. Now, as I mentioned in the post, the curious thing is for a mine, all right, that was worth several millions, hundreds of millions, possibly 3 billion, right? Possibly, but at least for now, let's say several hundreds of millions of dollars. What did they value it for? $12 million. How? How on earth? How could they have valued it for $12 million? That's the thing we say we must investigate. We must, because it can't be allowed to stand. That valuation looks very suspicious. You value a mine for $12 million, not just the mine, it's the whole of the company. But I'm even saying that the mine alone should fetch you a lot more money. So, I mean, you see that after the valuation, and then government of Ghana said, oh, they are not getting value for money. That's the letter Charles Dubois wrote. That they are not getting value for money, so they are not interested. Then, when that letter was being written to government of Ghana that you can buy it for $12 million, Ofori Poku was on the board. So let's take this again. The time the shares were being offered to government of Ghana for that $12 million, Ofori Poku was on the board. Right?
Yes.
So when government of Ghana refused, and we'll come to that side on the basis on which government of Ghana refused, when in actual fact they were advised not to refuse, right? Viadec, that's the company, let's call it BOL, as a main organization we set up under law for Boxite, etc. Had advised that no, let's buy it. Yet at the Ministry of Finance, Edubuahi and Co., you don't know what kind of calculus they did and said they are not interested. Then Ofurupuku's company now buys this the 80% shares for that $12 million. And then in less than, or just call it in about 2 years, now the company is valued at over 1 billion.
1 billion.
It said 1.4 billion. So it's even the same Ministry of Finance that then decided to reduce the valuation to 1.08 billion. Yeah? So now ask yourself, what is it that Oforipoku's company could have put in, right? Where to pay, and the payment terms, very, very cheap. Pay down 7.5 million, and then you pay $100,000 every month. So they gave it out cheap. Sold our Boxite for next to nothing. And then in less than 2 years, not any major investment, and now you say the same company is worth
exactly what I want to check with you. If within the 2-year period, your checks didn't show any major investment, any major improvement, any major productivity that could have improved on the value or the valuation?
Absolutely not major to have sent the value to the 1.4 billion. So do you know? So look, Annie, see how curious it gets. When they did their own valuation and brought the valuation to the Ministry of Finance, that the company is now worth $1.4 billion. They did that because now they needed to go to Parliament. They wanted tax waivers, and then they went and did this valuation. Now, let me tell you, the Ministry of Finance by itself looked at the valuation and reduced the valuation. So that should tell you that the Ministry of Finance, Edubuahi, etc., in charge, should have conducted an independent valuation. Somebody brings his valuation. You look at it with your eyes. Yes, you may be knowledgeable in the field. And then you reduce it from 1.447 billion to 1.08 billion. That's what the ministry did. So that in itself tells you that they knew that something untoward was at hand. That tells you that something untoward was at hand. Look, Annie, I go to court every day. When you go to court and somebody comes to challenge the valuation, maybe they are selling a house, whatever, what the court will usually do is that, okay, if you are contesting, do you know what? Don't even go and bring your own valuation. The two lawyers, the parties, put your heads together. Let's appoint an independent valuer. That's the standard thing we do in court.
Yeah,
so the ministry itself
standard,
looking at the 1.4 and reducing it to 1.08 billion tells you that they knew something was wrong. And I'm telling you, Annie, with my naked eyes, that company could not have gone for $12 million. We will need to get to the bottom of this matter, and those who will go to jail will have to go to jail. You can't sell this for cheap like that. $12 million, a whole company.
Yes.
A whole company.
You also raise a company of conflict of interest. That the man who did the valuation at $12.5 million is now the CFO of the buyer OPCL.
Absolutely, yes. And it's not just curious, it raises a lot of concern. So you do a valuation and then you pass behind and now go and start working for the new buyer. Yes, it raises a lot of conflict of interest and insider dealing, meaning that, yes, he had seen something. So we need to go into all of it. What did he know at the time he was doing the cheap valuation?
I just want to ask if you, by chance, the one who did the valuation, who is now working with OPCL, was he working with them before the valuation, or he came as an independent valuer and then later found himself working with the company?
Yeah, so all I know is that, look, at the time he did the valuation, it was EY, right? You know the auditing firm, EY.
Yes.
He was working with that.
Yes.
Deloitte. He was working with Deloitte.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Then now he leaves that place to go and work for the company that's bought. Yeah. He was working for Deloitte. Then now he leaves that place and goes to work for this Oforipoku Company Limited.
Yes.
So that is it.
So you're suspecting that he probably did a good deal for the company and then decided to go and also, benefit from what he did, the work he did.
Yes, that's my sense of it. Because as I told you, this valuation there, no.
Okay.
You don't need to be a valuer to see that, no, you couldn't have valued. We had deposits. We had Boxite deposits. It's not like the deposits are finished. No. It's like deposits. So how can you value such a company for 12?
When did you discover this?
When?
Yes. When did you? I know you posted this 18 hours ago, but when exactly were you able to gather the details? Because you are a part of Oral, and we know that you've already presented your works to the Attorney General. So I'm just wondering when you were able to come up with all these details or your findings and what you intend to do going forward, because you're calling for a forensic audit.
Yes, and I'm going to press it. I'll keep pressing it. So it's been about a week now. Yeah. So, you get people who are not happy. So sometimes, in actual fact, to be honest, it's over a month now. But I've been busy. Then a week ago, I started reading up, and I saw that, no, this is something we should bring up. So, yes, we'll be asking government to do a forensic audit.
Is it something Oral, that you capture under the work of Oral, or you just do it as Martin Pebu?
For now, we'll do it as Martin Pebu. When government agrees to do the forensic audit, so it's a forensic audit that will bring more evidence against them. Then, naturally, from the forensic audit, we would say it should go under the ORA, Operation Recover All Loot. Yes.
All right, we'll leave it here. Private legal practitioner Martin Pebu, we're grateful for speaking to us, yes, on this development. And just to let you understand what's going on, I think he's just identifying what he thinks that Ghana has been shortchanged when it comes to the valuation of the Ghana Boxite Company Limited. He says that government of Ghana must conduct a forensic audit into the sale of Ghana Boxite Company Limited to Oforipoku Company Limited. Now, the shares were valued at $12.5 million in 2022, and government of Ghana, which owned 20% of the shares, was given the rights of first refusal to acquire the remaining 80% of the shares. But government of Ghana, per Charles Edubwa, he refused the offer on the basis that there was no value for money, etc. Now, in less than 2 years, GBC is now valued at over, that is the Ghana Boxite Company Limited, don't get me wrongly, it's valued at $1 billion. Yes, you heard me, $1 billion. How could that happen? 3, the man who did a valuation at $12.5 million is now the CFO of the buyer OPCL. And is it true that OPCL is owned by a big financier of the previous administration, that's the NPP? The owner of OPCL was a board member of the Ghana, that's the GBC, that's the Ghana Boxite Company Limited, at the time of the sale of GBC to OPCL. Insider trading, more to follow. He says, guys, let's set up, and this is a contract. This contract must be investigated, and that's what we called him for him to explain further what he's seeking. And I'm sure we'll be following up with him, Martin People, private legal practitioner. You're also watching Good Afternoon Ghana. I'll take a breather. When we come back, we'll get to the health ministry and find out more about what the health ministry is about, is going on and on about with the Mahama Care. There's been the issue of Agenda 111. The health minister will be speaking to us. And then we'll get to the foreign ministry as well.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath.
I'm a fair missy way.
Prepare bantama.
Machasi.
Cycle.
It's her smile. The fresh breath.
Me, Judy said we used to Cal 360 toothpaste. Some kind. Cal 360 toothpaste.
That's Kia. Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector.
Onim jom kasa.
Kile hosen.
Cal 360 better way. Its cool mint gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
You will see so feeling kika when you know Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Cal, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
So what about what your papa piano?
Yeah, this is my secret. Give us P capsules. Emma, I want to go from now on to me to my ding one pen. Give us P capsules. Over do us, Mama. Oh no, enemy lawyer.
And to lawyer, no, not show bottom. Are you broke? Are you broke? I don't know. I'm machine about Chiamwa as a new No. You get if you are coming, the friend give us cold capsules. Say yes, is Yaren the wall, so cold did do nip a dream when in our posa a mamma and Tima Wunja will not give us cold capsules. Obey your free
lawyer.
Give us cold capsules.
And I give us P capsules.
Hey, and they give us free.
And men, what if you do what you do, Cronkwan, Efra? Give us core capsules. A pay for a batter, one more menu for one and Quadawan if you do me nunca.
Attention all farmers. Are you ready to take your crops to the next level? Introducing 3 effective organic composts that will revolutionize your farming practices. ACAP, KCAP, and IRECOP brings to you the ultimate solution for your fertilizer needs. Introducing the ACAP Grade A, KCAP Equiafua Jinkwa, and the IRECOP with cocoa blend, palm blend, and mulch. These are made from locally sourced municipal solid waste And these are the perfect choice for sustainable farming. Join the organic revolution today. Boost your crop yield, improve soil health, and support sustainable farming practices. Choose ACAP, K-Cup, and AeroCup organic compost for a greener and bountiful harvest. For your purchase and more information, call the numbers on your screen. Our products are endorsed by COCOBOD, Planting for Food and Jobs, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
Welcome back to Good Afternoon Ghana. Let's do some other stories where the government of Ghana has launched the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, widely known as Mahama Cares, to provide financial support for people suffering from chronic diseases such as cancer, kidney failure, and heart conditions. Now, the initiative, introduced by President John Dramani Mahama, is expected to ease the financial burden of treatment and improve the access to health care for affected individuals.
In Ghana, non-communicable diseases account for 43% of all-cause mortality, with reported cases of major non-communicable diseases such as heart disease, stroke, diabetes, cancer, and respiratory disease becoming common in health facilities. However, the capacity to address these non-communicable diseases at the primary health care facilities has been identified to be limited. At the official inauguration of the Mahama Cares Technical Task Force, a new initiative aimed at addressing the financial burden of people suffering from chronic diseases, Minister of Health Kwabena Mintah Kando urged the task force members to approach their roles with integrity and diligence.
The expectations are high and the challenges are real. But I have no doubt that together we will create a system that will stand the test of time. I urge you to consult widely, and I repeat, consult widely, and design a solution that is effective. The choices you make in the coming months will shape the future of this initiative. Your efforts will not only encompass policies and frameworks, they will focus on saving lives and restoring hope to families in need.
He further clarified that Ghana Medical Care Trust Fund, known as Mahama Cares, will have its legal framework to make it a statutory entity.
If we decide to put all manner of disease on the National Health Insurance Scheme, it will collapse. You have no idea about how it costs to treat, a heart disease or chronic disease, surgeries and what have you. We can't afford to put all these diseases on the National Health Insurance. That's why there's a need for us to provide this special purpose vehicle. Legal framework, a structure. It's not an ad hoc establishment. So we are going to go to, if we have to go through Parliament and all that, to have that as a statutory entity, well established. We will define all the sources of funding, and then.
All right, you're welcome back. So let's go onto the phone lines and speak with the Health Minister, Mr. Kando, who also led the launching, as you saw in the story. Honorable Minister, thank you for your time. You're welcome to Good Afternoon, Ghana.
Good afternoon.
So, Mr. Akando, so you've had a lot of, programs you're rolling out as far as the health ministry is concerned. You went round the country to deal with Agenda 111 to give us some updates. You also have now launched the Mahama Care program. We've had Dr. Nsiasari, who has come in to indicate that some of the free dialysis had already started in certain institutions, and so it was not entirely true that the dialysis, freebies is not being rolled out when you also launched the Mahama Care, indicating that the program will start rolling out. Firstly, let me ask how the ministry even looks like with the programs that started before you took over.
Yes, I mean, to tell you the truth, a lot of mess has been caused in the system. And let me begin from the Agenda 111, as you mentioned in your introduction. The President stated in his last in the first State of the Nation address that none of the Agenda 111 projects in operation. People like Nsiasari, as you have mentioned, came out to challenge him that what Mr. President was saying was not true. So I do not understand why people will continue to listen to people like Nsiasari. And you see, as leaders of this country, I continue to say that to be candid with the people of this country is basic. So I had the opportunity to tour some of these facilities. And the interesting aspect is that the very facilities they took the former president, and not Danko Akufo-Addo, to commission, and those they claim are in operation are even the construction site. The civil works have even not been completed. Installation of equipment are less than 20%. There's absolutely no health worker at these facilities, let alone thinking about operationalizing these facilities. And so when you hear, and I went there with praise. So when I get back and hear people like this are still speaking, I get worried. So, I mean, no, none of these Agenda 111 facilities have been completed or commissioned or are in operation. And I can speak to you now. We need more than, $1.4 billion to be able to complete all these projects. Even those that they commissioned. But for you, for example, the commitment we have on Koforuko is in excess of $8 million. The Trader One, we also have a commitment of in excess of $8 million. If you go to Bokro, in Ahanta West, about $9 million. If you sign a contract and you have not performed your part of the contract, you've not paid, the property cannot become the property of the state. And you see a whole president being carried there to commission such a facility. And you still listen to people like Nsiasari. By now, they should be answering questions. And then he comes back to say, these facilities are not in operation because we have stopped health workers who were recruited. We have sacked them. Can you imagine? When they commissioned this project in December 5th, 2024, was NDC in office to sack any health worker? So you don't get it. So, Mr. President, this whole project was being handled at the presidency. So, Justice John Dramani Mahama has directed that the project must be brought to the Ministry of Health, and then we audit and give him a blueprint as to how, going forward, we'll be able to complete this project. So these are the realities. We went there with some of your colleagues, the media, was with me. And these are the three that they claim are at the highest completion levels. So please, these are the facts. As I speak to you now, they have expended about $400 million US. Per their own calculation, this $400 million US should have completed about 22 projects. If they had rolled it in phases. Now, these $400 million have been expended, and not a single one has been completed.
Yes,
I
spoke with the former Minister of Health, Dr. Okuboy, who indicated that maybe your approach of expending the $400 million would have been different. But according to their government, this is the approach they decided to use, and he urged you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm saying that with the greatest respect to my colleague and to Ghanaians, if you are put in public office and you are serving the people of this country, any decision you make must make sense and must benefit the good people of this country. If you are going to roll out projects like 111 hospitals construction, number one, it's just a common sense that you must have dedicated sources of funding in the first place. If you don't have reliable and dedicated sources of funding, and you're even relying on DOG, what is basic and fundamental is that you must begin to ask yourself how many of these projects you can complete within a year. And then you roll the project in phases. So you ask yourself, now we have expended $400 million, and the project was supposed to be completed even at most in 2021. We are in 2025. $100 million is gone. We owe 1 billion Ghana cedis, and none of these facilities have been put to good use. This is not a good decision. It is not. And nobody, I am shocked that he can even have the guts to grant interviews to that effect. It is very, the discretion was fully done. They know best why they took those decisions. They know best how this project was even handled at the presidency and all that. So for now, we have been directed to audit, and we are doing the auditing.
They also make a point that the University of Ghana Medical Hospital was put up by His Excellency Mahama, and when they came into office, they also, proceeded in employing health workers to start the operation of the hospital. So it's the same thing that they want to assign to this particular Agenda 101, some of the hospitals that are completed, that all you need to do is to start employing health workers and let it and set it operational.
You see, Annie, sometimes they set their own questions and begin to answer the questions. Look, I would have had no problem if the president, when he visited those sites, said, oh, these are the levels of completion of these facilities, and that they are even far advanced. I don't have a problem. I mean, they said the facilities were completed and that they were in operation. Even after December, when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama said in his State of the Nation address that none of these facilities were in operation. Did you hear what they came to say? The same person, whoever, what's the name? In sense that you are quoting and listening to, came out and said, Mr. President was lying. These are the issues we are dealing with. In the case of the University of Ghana Medical Center, everything, including transformer. You remember that the former minister, Adimamanu, came out to say they were not going to make the place operational because they didn't have a standby generator. Have you forgotten?
Yes.
But we have not forgotten in this country. It took a student, it took an ordinary Ghanaian to go and take, a shot of the generator to show the whole country that they were lying. Okay, so please, these are the facts I'm telling you. If you think that you are a president or you are a minister, and then your decision is that you will decide to use $400 million US on about 100 facilities, so that kingdom come and will not benefit the good people of the country, and you think that that is one way of spending the money and it's good, I mean, posterity will judge all of us. Posterity will judge all of us.
Now So briefly now, as we go into the, I'm sure you're going to find monies to complete some of these projects. I hope so.
So now, that's the most important thing. Mr. President, I mean, has directed that we'll do an audit of the whole, whether or not we even have, I mean, value for money in the first place. We'll determine all these things. And whatever we want to do with these facilities or these projects, we'll take Ghanaians along very soon.
Before I let you go, if you can, give us a brief on Mahama Care program. Dr. Nsiasare has also come out to make some responses. He's talking about how some of the free dialysis program has already started rolling out in certain.
Is the coordinator of Agenda 111. Nsiasare is the coordinator of dialysis, and nobody in MPP is talking at the moment, and people are listening to Nsiasare. Hey, we have a problem. My God. Okay, so now listen to the issue of dialysis on it. Agenda, what do you call it? Mahama Care.
Okay.
You know, the rate at which NCDs, non-communicable diseases, are killing people in this country is quite alarming. In fact, the statistics indicate that about 42 to 45% of mortality in this country are attributable to NCDs. So, as any responsible political party contesting elections, you cannot turn a blind eye to NCDs. So, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama promised the good people of this country that he was going to have a dedicated source of funding for the NCDs. And so we took the top three, the cardiovascular diseases and the cancers and the kidney-related ones. Okay, these are the three we took. And therefore, what we are intending to do is to establish a fund to subsidize the treatment of these chronic diseases. So we are going to have a statutory entity clearly define the sources of funding, so that we'll have reliable sources of funding for these conditions. And so we'll take. You remember they capped the National Health Insurance Fund. So His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has decapped the National Health Insurance Fund so that we can rake in more money. We take part of that money to go into free primary health care, to go into Mahama Care at the same time. And we'll look at other sources too. Okay? Now, the dialysis you are mentioning is part of the chronic disease we are seeking to subsidize its treatment. And let me explain what happened. You remember, until my appointment as a Minister for Health, I was a writing member on the Health Committee. We call something the National Health Insurance Formula. The last National Health Insurance Formula, the 2024 National Health Insurance Formula, we, the committee, we, Parliament, made a provision of 2 million Ghana cedis. And Annie, please listen and listen good. We made a provision of 2 million Ghana cedis in their last formula, 2024 formula. And then they saw that even the 2 million Ghana cedis was not enough for dialysis alone. So they went and took another 2 million from the corporate social responsibility, the item on the formula, making 4 million. And they came out to say that they were going to treat people under 18 years and people above 60 years. Annie, please, do you remember?
Yes, I remember.
Good. Very well. That was the position. Then, in November, late November, they came out to say that now they have announced that with effect from 1st December, dialysis was free.
Free, yes.
That was 1st December when we were going to have elections on 7th December in 2024. Now, 4 million, they're talking about 4 million to take care of free dialysis in this country. And let me say that formula, the 2024 formula, expired on 31st December 2024. So beyond 2024 December 31st, there was no sources of funding of the dialysis. It died, that 4 million, died on the 31st of December 2024. Now, let's do a quick calculation, mathematics. Now, we have not less than 1,200 people when we talk about dialysis alone, 1,200. They need not less than 3 times a week at the rate of 400 Ghana cedis. If you do simple mathematics, you are looking at not less than 74 to 75 million Ghana cedis. And I mean, you are telling me that the provision of 4 million can take care of something that we are supposed to. We require 75 million Ghana cedis. Why are we doing this to ourselves?
Even that computation might reduce because of lack of dialysis machinery. We are not even able to the 1,200 number that you're calling. I'm not sure all of them can have access to dialysis treatment.
I am even talking about the access aspect is even a completely different matter. It's even different ball game altogether. We must begin to look at, because even if you decide to subsidize the cost of treatment, and somebody in Tamale or Boga or Yagaba or in Gaboso cannot get access to dialysis machine, it's useless.
Okay.
So this is another thing we must begin to look at. When people like essentially begin to talk, you ask yourself whether we want to hear the truth or we want to hear tricks. In this country, when you have gone to facilities with media men, representatives from your media house, you've seen the truth, it must take you again to come out and speak to what Insiasa has said. Sometimes it's a bit strange, but hey, we'll continue to take the news along, we'll continue to explain issues, and God even said it, those who have ears to do what? Listen.
All right, Mr. Kwabena Mintah-Kandor, Minister for Health and also a Member of Parliament for Joaboso constituency. We're grateful for spending this time with us. We'll come back to your outfit to see how you source for funds in rolling out these policies and projects. Thank you for speaking to us.
You're welcome.
Right. Now, let's go on to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And we're doing this because the ministries have now started rolling out very major policies and programs. And the biggest question for this government has been, where are you getting the finances from? Where are you getting the funds from? How are you going to, generate revenue, since we're cutting some taxes after the presentation of the budget by the Finance Ministry. Now, the Foreign Ministry, this is what we were updated with by yesterday. Government reduces ordinary passport fee from 500 to 350 Ghana cedis. The government has announced plans to reduce the cost of ordinary passport from 500 to 350 Ghana cedis. That's about 150 Ghana cedis cuts, representing more than 25% decrease aimed at making passport accessible while maintaining high security standards. Minister for Foreign Affairs Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa announced this while answering questions on the floor of Parliament on March 13, 2025. The government also recognizes concerns about the affordability of the new passports and it's committed to ensuring the cost remains reasonable while maintaining high security standards. Now, also, the updates we had yesterday also is that 50 out of 150 Ghanaians are currently detained in the United States and have been issued final deportation orders and are expected to return to Ghana by mid-year. So, regarding the development of what's going on at the Finance Ministry, the Foreign Affairs Ministry to be precise, we have Patrick Boama, who is Member of Parliament for Okankwe Central constituency, joining us, asking some questions of the developments at the Foreign Ministry. Honourable Member, thank you for your time and you're welcome. Thank you for heeding to our call. Good afternoon to you. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you on this very important network, and warm regards to my constituents.
I'm grateful. Now, what is the issue? Well, the Foreign Affairs Ministry, I think, has taken certain measures. The first one we had was its request, I would say, advice or directive to embassies in how it treats Ghanaians in applying or application for visas. And then we've had, yesterday we received the cost cuts of passport process and ordinary passport processes and all. Well, it is taking certain activities already. What are the issues you have with the Foreign Affairs Ministry?
Thank you very much. It's not a case that I have an issue, but the first issue you raised with regards to cost-cutting measures on passports. Do you want us to discuss that one, or you want us to deal with?
Yes, you can start with the cost cutting first.
Okay. So first and foremost, the minister does not have the authority to discuss cost-cutting measures on the floor of Parliament when he, as a party representing government, and the parties to the agreement have not even met to discuss this issue. For him to have come to the floor of Parliament to tell Ghanaians that he was going to reduce the price of passport from 500 to 350 cedis, and that it was a fait accompli, was irregular, in my view, because he, in the same breath, told Parliament that he was not going to meet with the parties to the contract. So, if you haven't met the parties, you haven't discussed any issue with regards to their contract, which is fine. A PPP contract, which had gone through due process, you cannot, by a statement on the floor of Parliament, say that you are going to reduce the cost of the acquisition of a passport. I felt it was very wrong. So when I put it to him that he hadn't even sought the opinion of the Attorney General, for him to even give an opinion on the contract that he's talking about, he had no business telling Ghanaians that it was a fait accompli, because I know that he's meeting with the transaction advisors and parties to the contract at 3 p.m. today in his office. So what was the basis for that announcement? That was my view.
But don't you think that he probably came to the House or the August House to announce this and maybe later do the needful by...
It cannot be, because you must respect the sanctity of contracts, you understand? As foreign minister... Well, here interview, as foreign minister, the whole world would want you to respect contracts and their terms. And when parties to contracts have not met, you cannot, on your own volition, say that I've reduced the cost of a passport. That was my problem.
How did he respond to it when you raised a question at him?
First of all, he made that announcement. I put it to him, and he said, he was going to review. Then I asked him, has he sought the AG's opinion on the contract that he says he's going to review? He said no. Then he said, they are now going to negotiate. Then I asked him, if you haven't negotiated, why are you now saying that you are going to reduce the passport prices?
And how did he come to the 25% reduction?
Let me tell you, I know he's asked the transaction advisors to give him some scenarios to be presented to him. He wants to extend the contract period from 10 years to, let's say, 12 years, so that the implementers of the contract will have the space to conduct the passport production over a longer period, by so doing making or breaking even and making some profits over a longer period. Then he will use that as a basis to ask them to reduce their price. You haven't done that. He's not done that. He's not going to meet them today at 3 p.m. So it was so misleading to the House of Parliament and to the people of Ghana for him to have made that announcement. He's my very good friend, but I thought he misstepped, and that process was irregular.
So the House will have to wait for him to come back with updates, right?
Yeah, and let me tell you something. When the Minister of Finance reads the budget, there's what we call the fees and charges that he brings to the committee. Fortunately, I chair the committee now, it's a subsidiary legislation committee, where we look at all fees, passport fees, when you are going to a hospital, little fees that we pay at different government agencies. So that has to be brought before Parliament for us to discuss that report, debate it, for it to be laid, for it to achieved a 21-day period if it's an airline. You understand? But if you haven't done that, why would you say that you reduce the price of passports?
All right. Honorable, before I let you go, maybe you will touch on a few activities because you have some knowledge about international affairs. What the foreign minister started doing until today. We've had the updates also on 50 Ghanaians in U.S. received final deportation orders, and they are set to, arrive in the country by middle of this year. His action or letter, maybe I would say, to the embassies of better treatment to be accorded our Ghanaian citizens when they are applying for visas and all. How do you rate his performance so far, apart from this issue you've raised about cost cutting?
Thank you. It's a good step for the foreign ministry to use their services or to bring their services and expertise to the Ghanaians who are affected. First and foremost, we asked him about steps that the ministry was taking to support Ghanaians reintegrate those who have been kept in detention camps. We even asked him why he hasn't even visited them in camps in Costa Rica and what have you, since he's known to have been visiting students who had issues with their stipends in some time past. So if the foreign minister takes all these steps to help or assist Ghanaians who have been caught up in some of the issues with the U.S. immigration, I think it's a good step, and I'll commend him for that and the ministry. But when issues are irregular, we'll raise it. When he does something good, we'll commend him for that.
All right.
Sorry, I'm at the airport now.
Okay. But my time is up. I just wanted to find out from you on this betting controversy. Did you apologize for the comments made by the former finance minister?
Yesterday, the minority held a press conference and we spoke on that. So I beg of you to take a cue from what we said. Thank you.
Honourable Minister, Honourable Member of Parliament, thank you for your time this afternoon, for speaking to us here on Good Afternoon,
You're
Ghana.
welcome. Have a lovely day.
I have a lovely day too as well. Bye. So, we will wrap up here because that's what time will allow us. We still have some more interviews to conduct. We've been trying to reach the tourism minister, but we are unsuccessful since she is actually not answering her phone. She agreed to speak with us earlier on this celebration that we're having today. Ghana at 68 is a Taste Ghana at 68. Taste Ghana at 68. And it's a celebration that the tourism ministry is leading. So they wanted to have some more insight on what that celebration really is about. We'll wrap up here. We earlier on spoke with the Kwabena Mintah-Kando, who is Health Minister and Member of Parliament for Dwaboso constituency. Earlier on, Martin Pebu, private legal practitioner, also joined us on the issue of Ghana Boxite Limited sale. He's calling for a audit into it. And also just gone by is Patrick Boama, Okankwe Central Member of Parliament on the foreign affairs issues. And also, we had a chance to speak with COP Bright Odro, retired former Director General of Criminal Investigation Department at CID, on the new IGP Yonu, who's just been sworn in by His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Pagri Boachi Dankwa also joined us with some more updates on the same issue. My name is Ania Frampo. Good afternoon, Ghana is wrapping up this week, and next week we'll come across with some more details, interviews, analysis of the news headlines. Thanks for watching.